Damien and Saskia V on Mix 93.8.
So I don't know about you, but I have, what's it now, almost March, and I'm still feeling the December struggles. And I think there are financial mistakes that everybody makes. And Lourens Oberholzer is here every second Monday from Retire Rich and Happy. If you want to find out more, go to the website Retire Rich and Happy. But Lourens, you pretty much you work with clients in order for them to retire rich and happy.
Exactly, yes.
And in the consultations with clients, do you find that generally most people sort of are making the same financial mistakes?
Yes. Yeah, I've been in the industry for going on 19 years almost
Sure.
now. So after all the people, the thousands of people I've met with, you start to pick up the same mistakes that people make. So at your request, we decided to have a quick chat about some of the mistakes people make. It's by no means all the mistakes, and it's by no means the top mistakes. It's common mistakes that people tend to make, and mistakes that are relatively easy to fix.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you want me to jump in?
Yeah, so some of the most common money mistakes that probably you and I'm reading through the list, and I definitely do at least half of these. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the first one. The first one is not having a financial plan. There's too many people out there with no plan with their finances. They start the year and they don't know what they're going to do with their money that year. They don't plan it out. They don't have a proper budget. They don't know what they want to achieve, so that they can look back at the end of the year and say, well, did I have a good year financially or did I have a bad year? They tend to be very reactive with their finances. Most of us are very reactive. Something happens and then we want to solve it, instead of being proactive and saying, I am going to do X, Y, and Z this year to put myself in a better situation. Whether that is putting money away, whether it's creating an emergency fund, whether it's getting rid of debt or a certain debt, all of that can be goals. So what we teach people is you need to be stubborn in your goals. So once you've set the goal, be very stubborn in it, but be flexible in your methods, because unforeseen things will happen. But you have to have a plan to start off the year with.
Okay.
The second one is keeping up with the Joneses. We all fall into that trap. We think it's a competition and it's a sprint against the person living next door or the friend working with me, and they buy a new car, and we then go into what I call the itch cycle. So what happens is you see somebody else get it and then you want it. So you go into that itch cycle, and now you start not thinking about it in the bigger scheme of your plan. You look at it from the competition of I also want a new car now. So it's very important that we learn to have delayed gratification. We live in a society of instant gratification.
Yeah, that's it,
We want it now. So when people go into the itch cycle, I always say to people, if you are in that itch cycle and you want to buy something, give yourself at least 2 weeks before you make the final decision. Just sit on it for a while. And most of the time, after 2 weeks, the itch cycle is gone and you don't want to do it anymore. Okay, the next one is not making sure you have minimized your risk. As part of our 5-step process, this is also the foundation. You have to make sure that you are sorted out for catastrophic events, unforeseen things that can happen to you that can have a catastrophic effect on your finances.
Do you see this with people?
A lot. We see so many times when I meet with a client, they tell me about a friend, a family member that's one of these events happened with, and the financial stress and financial disaster they are in because of it. So you have to make
sure you have the right sort of insurance.
And have it built towards the goals. What is needed? Remember, we spoke about what if money. Don't spend too much, but make sure that what you are spending is actually doing what you need.
Okay.
The fourth one is not having an emergency fund. So minimizing your risk is all about the bigger events that can happen: a death, a disability, a dread disease, all of those kind of things. An emergency fund is for those unforeseen expenses that tend to pop up. Your son gets first team rugby and now he has to go on a tour. You haven't planned for it. You need that emergency fund. Your car breaks down.
Yeah.
All of those things. So you need to have an emergency fund.
But that's my credit card, isn't it?
Because there's no plan. So the first step is have the financial plan. Yes, most people's credit card is the emergency fund. And that comes in where the biggest problem is that we have a lot of ways to reduce our expenses by consolidating debt and all of these kind of things. But if we don't address the underlying problem. What created the debt in the first place, which usually is a cash flow management problem. We just go back into the debt. So we consolidate people's debt, or they go into debt counseling, and in 6 months they're back in debt because the underlying problem
hasn't
solved.
actually. So you're treating the symptom, but not the cause.
Yes.
We're chatting about common money mistakes that people make. This is Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy. What's number 5?
Okay, so number 5 is not managing your credit profile. A lot of people I meet, they don't understand how important it is to make sure that you have a clean credit record. And they don't understand the small things that have an effect on it. For example, if you don't make sure that there's enough money in your account for a debit order to go off, that has a negative effect on your credit record each time a debit order bounces. So I see so many people that 3 debit orders bounce. Oh, I'm not behind. I'm just paying a week later. That has a negative effect on their credit record.
Sure.
So what I suggest to people is once a year you've the right to get a free credit report. Make use of that right. Know what's happening in your credit report so that you can manage your credit record.
Okay.
Number 6, not investing in your own financial education. We've spoken about this before. We live in a society where we are not taught the rules of the game. They expect us to win at the game of money through our lives, but they don't teach us the rules. It's like playing Monopoly and not knowing what the rules are. The guys who know what the rules are going to be so far ahead by the time you figure it out, you're never going to catch up. So you need to find ways to increase your financial education. You need to increase your financial intelligence so that you actually understand how these things work.
And this is what Retire Rich and Happy can do for you
That's
as well.
basically what we aim to do through the seminars where we teach people how these things work. Then number 7, this is a big one, overestimating the value of retirement savings. I see so many people that I meet with, and they say, but I should be okay because I've got a pension at work and I'm putting 500 Rand a month into a retirement annuity. And that is not enough because people don't understand how much capital they actually need to retire with. I always tell it to people like this. How do you expect 500 Rand a month put away for 20 years to suddenly become 10,000 Rand a month as an income for 20 years? Because that's what people think is going to happen. And
remember, there's inflation, so
so 500 Rand, I don't care what growth you have, will never become 10,000 Rand a month. So don't expect a 500 Rand a month retirement annuity to become a 10,000 Rand a month pension. It's never going to work. So you need to understand what the limitations of savings are so that you don't overestimate the value of what your savings
Not to say you shouldn't have an RA,
no, you should.
but to say you need further things.
Exactly.
As well.
You have to put money away as much as you can, but understand the limitations of it. Don't think that is going to be the final solution for retirement.
Okay.
And then the last one is being a passive investor. So a lot of people ask me what I mean with that. We have many people out there that don't want to take control of their finances and their financial planning. They want to give it to the broker, the financial advisor. I meet a lot of people and they say to me, no, you just tell me what I need to do. Just take the money and just invest it and make sure that I'm okay. But you cannot be successful because you must remember is at the end of the day, that person that invests the money, he's doing it for his benefit as well. And if he has to make a decision between his benefit and your benefit, his benefit's going to be first. That's just human nature. So you cannot expect that person to take over 100% control and think that you're going to be successful. You need to educate yourself.
Well, this goes back to the
education part as well. Yes.
So don't be a passive investor. So those are the top 8 money mistakes people make.
Yes.
From Lourens Oberholzer, who's the founder and CEO of Retire Rich and Happy.
Damien and Saskia V on Mix 93.8.
Lourens Oberholzer is in studio every second Monday. He's the founder and CEO of Retire Rich and Happy. You can go to Retire Rich and Happy, all written out, .co.za if you'd like all the info. Remember, you can also always SMS RRH and your name to 33903 for a free. So if you're a Mix FM listener, you get a free 45-minute consultation. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and we come out, we send the wealth strategist to come and meet you at your office or at home. So you don't even have to drive out to us. We come to you.
Fantastic. So that's 33903. Put RRH for Retire Rich and Happy and your name. So we got a question from Michelle. Michelle says, I save about 10% of my salary into different places, but I do have credit card debt.
Yes.
Is it better to pay off my credit card debt and then go back, so stop my savings for a while, pay that off, and then go back to savings?
Yes. Okay. So there's a couple of things. Firstly, again, like I said earlier, you have to solve the root cause of the credit card debt as well. So what we teach people is to first make sure that you take control of your budget. And that's something that we teach in the seminar, the Invest in Yourself seminar. The next one's going to be on the 7th of April.
Okay.
And
that's on the website, hey?
Yes, the tickets are going on sale this week for the 7th of April. So we teach people you need to make sure that you understand your cash flow and why did you go into debt in the first place. Because if you think about it, if we have control over our cash flow, there's no reason to go into debt because you won't need to use a credit card if you manage your finances properly. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is you then invest in unsecured debt. That is getting rid of your credit card, getting rid of your clothing accounts, your personal loans. Once you've done that, the cash flow that you then release because of that, you then start putting that into investment, into structured investments. So yes, I would definitely look at it. I would probably not cancel my investments. I would probably reduce it to the minimum amounts to keep it open.
Okay.
And then take the balance, start getting rid of the unsecured debt, and then take the complete amount that you've now saved and put that into investment.
Okay, but
again.
make sure you look at your budget because otherwise it's going to keep happening.
Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, you then maybe pay it off in 6 months. You then take that money, put it in an investment, and 6 months later you're in debt again, which means now you go back into the cycle again.
Okay, so that's also treating the cause of the problem.
That's it.
Nikki, thanks so much for your message. But remember to SMS the Retire Rich and Happy number, which is 33903. So don't SMS us. It's 33903 RRH and your name. And one of the consultants from Retire Rich and Happy will come to you for a free 45-minute consultation.
Yes.
Fantastic. Lourens, as always, very, very informative. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Yes, I'll be here.
So that number one more time, 33903 RRH and your name.
Damien and Saskia V on Mix 93.8.